It's never 100% about you. When our egos get bruised, especially after wanting something so badly to happen and it doesn't, most people instantly go into self-judgment. I do it too, even after my thousands and thousands of hours of therapy and coaching and personal development and being highly medicated. It is my default mode is to go that I'm bad, I'm faulty, something's wrong with me, I must have done something, and get into that loop. The guy or girl doesn't like you back in that way. Almost no one bought the course you're selling. No one signed up for even your free thing. You didn't land the client you thought was a for sure yes. Someone ghosts you or no-shows you for an appointment. This likely triggers you into thinking, what's wrong with me? What did I do wrong? When we have a core wound from childhood that we are defective in some way, not good enough, not entirely lovable, it's so easy to take someone else's words, choices, or behaviors personally. And anytime this crap comes up for me, I say these 3 words on repeat. This isn't personal. There are dozens of factors why people make the decisions they do, and very few of them are about you personally. If your side of the street is clean and you're operating with kindness and integrity, there is nothing else you could have done, period. If you're tired of hearing the same old basic mindset and motivational fluff talk, you've come to the right show. Welcome to Project Me with Tiffany Carter, the podcast, where we dish on everything from managing that crazy brain of yours to manifesting abundance to my straightforward, actionable steps that will make you major money online. Now, I'm not your typical multimillionaire entrepreneur. It takes a small village to keep my anxiety and depression in check. I'm inherently disorganized with an intense obsession with office supplies. Your girl here is a digital marketing content expert who's generated over $200 million in sales. I promise by tuning in twice a week, you will get a much needed refreshing dose of truth, clarity, and cash-making advice. Now let's get to it. Tell me if this sounds about right. You feel like you're busy doing so many things, yet the clients and cash aren't reflective of the energy and time you're pouring into your business. And then this leaves you frustrated, wondering, what the hell am I missing here? Maybe I'm not focused on the right things, but I'm not sure what the fuck I'm supposed to do. The truth is, you are missing something. After coaching more than 150,000 people worldwide, clients ranging from people starting from scratch to multi-billion-dollar brands and everything in between, I can tell you with 100% certainty that if your business isn't consistently growing and your profits to effort ratio is feeling way off, there are major money leaking holes in your business that need to be filled right away. But here's the problem. Most all business coaches, consultants, and experts will either focus on strategy or mindset, not both. And straight up, you can't have a successful, sustainable business that feels fun and energizing to you, that brings you a ton of abundance without doing both. And like I say often on this show, I can build out a multi-million-dollar customized business plan for you and give you all the steps. But if your money mindset is broken, it will sabotage any proven strategy. So my dream team and I decided to create a one-of-a-kind 4-month mastermind program that delivers everything you need to go from thousandaire, as I call it, to millionaire status, baby. And that is inside the Abundance League Mastermind. You can get all the details by going to projectmewithttiffany.com/Abundance League. You can swipe up. It's right there in the show notes. And I have it in my link in bio on my Instagram at Project Me with Tiffany. You can see that there are incredible pricing plans to get in here. We are only taking a maximum of 20 people in order to ensure that you get the best results in working with me and my team to get you to where you want to go. So don't wait on this. It's by application only, but I just want to give a heads up. These application calls, if your application is approved, they're only 15 minutes long. Do not fill out an application just to see if you're accepted or just because you're curious or just because you want to think you can pick my brain. only serious applicants apply. And if you have any questions, you can, of course, email us. You can DM me before you apply to be absolutely sure. Otherwise, you're taking up spaces from other people who absolutely are willing to do whatever it takes to bring in that next level abundance into their lives and make things happen. So I just ask that you respect that. So go check out all the details. Again, you can swipe up or go to projectmewithtiffany.com/Abundance League. What up, my people, my posse, my fellow crazies? It's your host, Tiffany Carter, and this is the show that is going to help you grow your business, your bank account, that big, beautiful brain of yours, your relationships, and everything in between. There is nothing that will set someone into the land of being frozen, procrastination, putting things off for years, even decades, than the self-doubt spiral. I work with so many people on a weekly basis, whether it's in my Project Me Posse business coaching membership, or it's in my mastermind, one of my programs, or my private clients, where there's a self-doubt spiral coming. And I know it's coming. And I support and walk people through it. And you likely are in one now, or have been in one recently, or find yourself in one once or twice a week, if not more, when something isn't working out, when your podcast isn't growing, no one's signing up for your email list, you keep attracting crappy relationships and you're watching everyone else get married and seem so happy, where just when you thought you were 3 steps ahead, something happens and you're 5 steps back. And what ends up happening, if you're someone who was in a toxic relationship or grew up in a dysfunctional environment, the natural go-to is self-doubt, something's wrong with me, no one wants me, people aren't interested in me, they don't want what I have, I'm not good enough, and out comes the giant bat to beat the crap out of yourself. I remember when I said to a friend of mine and my law of attraction coach that I had at the time, and I was so frustrated because I was going on all these dates and relationships after relationships, and it was one emotionally unavailable person or a toxic person or someone who didn't have their shit together, one after the next, one after the next. And then I started watching friends of mine get in these like seemingly great relationships and getting married and having kids. And I was like, why can't I find this person? What's wrong with me? What is it? What's wrong with me? The same thing happened when I was in corporate and I'd get passed up for promotions and they'd pick someone else instead of me. Or then I find out someone was getting paid more than me for the same job, or they got a bigger bonus than I did. Go right back to what's wrong with me. Maybe I'm not as good as I thought I was. Maybe I'm not as talented. Maybe I'm messed up in a way that I'm not seeing. It comes back to that deep-seated feeling that you're inherently flawed in some way. And you could have confidence, self-esteem, feel very secure, have a lot of success even, and still end up in this self-doubt spiral. It's happened to me where I have observed other people getting tens of millions of downloads on their podcast, and they started around when I started. And it's like, why does this person or these people have, way more listeners and subscribers than me? I must be doing something wrong. Am I missing something? Maybe I'm not as helpful or entertaining or engaging as I think I am. And then I listen to the people's shows and get into comparison. I'm like, the show is like, it's not bad, but it's not that exceptional. So then I fill in the gap where the missing link must be that I'm the problem. It's got to be me, right? Look, and there's nothing wrong with taking an inventory and a look at yourself. That's actually a beautiful quality, that you're willing to say, maybe it's something I'm doing. Maybe it's something I'm not doing. Maybe there's an area of an improvement. That's wonderful. But if you're wired like me, and you end up in a spiral, it's because you've taken this way too far. In fact, you've taken it to a level to where it's self-abuse, where it's very self-critical, where you're beating the crap out of yourself. That's not coming from a loving and productive place where you're taking inventory of yourself and checking your side of the street to see if it's clean. When you're doing that from a healthy space and not a sacrificial space, you can be discerning. There's a level of detachment, like, well, I could take more risks and be spending more money on advertising. I have to be honest with myself. I've not really spent that much money on advertising, or maybe I need to have more faith and trust that this show is growing at the pace that it's supposed to grow at for what I can handle at any given time. And what someone else's journey is or isn't reflective of what mine will be or won't be. And I need to work more on that area and make that assessment from a place of love and compassion and understanding. That's beautiful. And there's a lot of people, as we know, who lack self-accountability and self-awareness, where they take none and they blame everyone else. So I want you to honor yourself, that you do take a look at yourself. But there's a difference between taking a look at yourself and then taking out a microscope and inspecting the shit out of yourself and then beating yourself up over it. That's not what we want to do here. And it does trigger us into what's wrong with me, what I'm doing wrong, because what you're saying you're wanting and the result that you're craving and you're desiring and you're yearning for isn't happening, and you want it so badly. So it's an easy default to say, I'm bad, I'm defective, it must be my fault. And that likely isn't going to go away in you, by the way. That programming was instilled at a very young age and has been worked in and worked in and worked in. So it's still a default for me to go down that path. I just don't stay in it as long. Sometimes I can get out of it within seconds. Sometimes it takes me a half a day. It depends how deprived I am, how well I've been taking care of myself spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally. So if I'm already run down, as you've heard me say in other episodes, if I'm in the halt zone, hungry, angry, lonely, tired, stressed, if I'm in that zone and then something happens where someone no-shows for a call with me, or I'm in a launch and I don't feel, there's many people buying as I hoped, or as many people signing up as I thought would sign up at that moment, I'm kind of at a weak point from lack of true self-care, pouring out way more than I need to be and not giving myself enough nurturing back. Then it's like a setup for getting into this self-doubt spiral, which ends up turning into a shame spiral, which is the lowest vibrating frequency when it comes to law of attraction, is shame. It's so fucking dark and it feels like shit. And when you get into shame, most people end up in a state of total paralysis. That's how I get, where I'm like, I don't want to do anything. I want to just check out. Because why would you have the motivation or the inspiration to show up and do things and have the creative bandwidth to come up with stuff to do things when you've been beaten down by that shame stick, reaffirming this deeply programmed, ingrained belief that you're lacking something, that you're not enough in order to have what you want in life, whether that's in your personal life or your business life, your monetary life, whatever it may be. This person, this client, this opportunity wasn't meant for you right now. Otherwise, it would have happened differently. We are not in charge, and we forget this. I forget this all the time too. This is all divinely mapped out. Even the stuff that you're going through that is totally painful, that's also there to serve a greater purpose as well. We don't necessarily get to know what that is at the time, but I'm sure when you look back in your life, you see what the purpose was for difficult situations. And not every situation is going to be fair. Me losing my father before my 25th birthday, that's not fair. It's not like the universe goes, we're going to make sure your dad dies within 6 weeks of a cancer diagnosis, Tiffany, because that's here to better serve you. Life is not always going to be fair, and part of our human existence is to experience the light, the darkness, and all the different shadows in between. And there's going to be some shit that comes up. And it's up to us to intentionally pour in and do the work to remind ourselves that this is the divine path. If you were supposed to have your biggest launch yet, you would have. If I was supposed to be at right now 100 million downloads, I would be at 100 million downloads. I have to choose to trust. There's a reason why that hasn't manifested into existence at this very time, despite my best efforts. I do believe that it's coming and it's happening, but it's happening in divine timing. It's happening in the greatest time for all, for the greatest good of everyone involved, including me. And you've really got to sink in and trust that belief. But if you think you're in charge and you're in self-will, well, then of course it's going to come back to yourself. We get like really self-absorbed in a way when we're in that self-doubt, shame spiral. Me, it's me, I'm bad, I'm wrong, I don't do this, me. We're not in charge. All we can control are the efforts we put out, the work we continue to do on ourselves, and showing up as the best we can on any given day. But we can't do all of this. We have to leave room for magic and miracles. As much as you guys come to me and join my programs for me to teach you how to monetize your gifts, how to make money living in your purpose and creating that true financial freedom of options for yourself so you can enjoy your best life in a way that feels so good to you while doing good for others in the world. You come to me so I can show you the steps and support you along the way and save you time so you're not wasting more time, energy, and money trying to figure it out on your own, because that's not a profitable business or life plan. But that doesn't mean all of a sudden you put out your first thing that you're launching, or a course or a podcast or whatever it is, and all of a sudden you make 6 figures starting at 0. I mean, I'm not God and you're not God. You've got to leave room for the divine. You know, I have clients where within 1 month, they went from 0 to $10,000 a month. I have clients within 2 months, they've quit their job and now they're matching what they had as their corporate salary, and they're growing from there. I have clients that have far surpassed even what I make in a year's period of time. And I also have clients who've worked with me for months or have been in a mastermind program who monetarily or even numerically in other measurable areas look like they've not made any progress, but that's not true. The progress they've made is in their mindset and some other work that had to be done first in order for the abundance to come. So I can't control if going viral, not going viral. All we can do is stack the odds in our favor that you're going to have that success in whatever area of your life. And then we've got to turn over and surrender the rest. Otherwise, we suffocate out any of that abundant energy that brings in the miracles, that brings in the, oh my God, this launch was better than expected. This beach house is better than expected. I can't believe I attracted these amazing friendships in this last year. Like, this is almost too good to be true. You get to have those experiences as long as you're not snuffing them out by remaining in a shame and self-doubt spiral. Because when you're in that vibration, you're continuing to push away and block abundance because you're not thinking abundantly. You're trapped in scarcity. You're trapped in fear. You're trapped in lack. And that is only going to attract more things that validate what you don't have, that validate that it's you. How can you shift that? You can shift that by practicing the art of detachment. So the stronger attachment you have to your desired outcome, the higher the likelihood that it won't happen. This is a genius life lesson from me that I really hope you can let it sink in. You might need to listen to this episode a second time because it can be a little bit of a heady concept, but I want you to get this because it will change your life. So the stronger attachment you have to getting married again, to having more friendships, to being able to quit your job and being able to make a certain amount of money, to having your program sell out, to having this particular client, potential client say yes to you. If you have a super strong attachment to that happening, the likelihood of it happening strongly diminishes. In fact, it diminishes on the other side as intensely as your attachment is. And here's why. Because when you're in this space, when you're like, oh my God, I need this client. I hope this client, okay, good. I have like an application call. Like, I really hope this client signs with me. I need this client. I haven't heard from them. I'm going to keep refreshing my email. Or did this guy text? Did this girl text? Keep refreshing your phone. Did they text? Did they text? Are they ghosting me? I really want this to work out. I really like them. I need to be able to quit my job. I need this money. I need this to work. I need this to work, Tiffany. This has to work, Tiffany. This has to work, Tiffany. I've had clients like that who've gotten stuck in this spiral, but this has to work. I don't have much money left in savings. You were my last, shot, Tiffany, and being able to figure this out. This has to work. This has to work. I need this to work. If it doesn't work, I'm going to have to go get a job, and I don't want to go back and get a job anymore. And I want what I want, and I want it now, and it has to work, has to work, has to work. And I'm like, well, it certainly is not going to work in this mental state. It's not. Because you're basing your well-being and your self-worth at the hands of something outside of yourself. And this is rooted in fear, insecurity, and scarcity, which is the opposite of abundance and repels abundance. And here's how it repels it. When you're grasping something so tight, this is when I did that terrible experiment that I do not recommend. I don't know what the hell I was thinking. I got on some wild loop when I kept seeing so many friends getting engaged and married. And I was like, I need to be married. I don't remember what age it was, but I was like, I need to be married by 30. It was probably 30. I picked some age like that. I need to be married by 30. I need to be married by 30. I had an attachment to that. And it's an unhealthy attachment. My attachment was, if I'm not, whenever you're saying I have to, this must work, this has to happen, this needs to happen, all that stuff, what you're saying is, I won't be okay. I won't be safe if this doesn't happen. That's what you're really saying. So what I was saying to myself is, oh my God, if this doesn't happen, I'm going to be alone forever. They're going to start looking at me weird. They're going to be like, no one wants you. And then I'm going to like lose hope, and I'm going to be destined to be alone forever. All scarcity, right? So I did this experiment. If you guys remember that app, that free dating app, Plenty of Fish. I don't know if it still exists. Oh my God. So I was like, I'm going to do 30 dates in 30 days. Because I was determined in self-will that I'm going to make sure this happens. First of all, it was very exhausting. I think I lasted like 12 dates. I can't believe I even did that. And I used up a lot of really nice makeup. And so what happened is, how do you think I showed up for those dates? Maybe the first one or two, I was a little more carefree and okay. But after the first one or two were shit, then I started getting resentful. Then I started putting on my makeup and doing my hair and going, this better be worth me doing my hair and makeup for. This better be worth me not sitting on my couch and watching my shows for. This better be worth my time and energy. And then I would show up with like a little bit of like a chip on my shoulder. And then I'd be like, ugh, this was a waste of time. And then I'd call girlfriends on the way home and be complaining, what a waste of time. And then I'd be in that kind of an energy. Well, me showing up with that energy and that attitude, even though I did my best to put on a smile and fake it, people can feel it. And I came with like the 20 questions. I wasn't really in the moment. I wasn't fully present. It became more like a job interview. So therefore, my thoughts created my behaviors and my vibe. And those behaviors and vibe further repelled what I wanted. Some of these people could have been lovely people, but if they're picking up on that I have this kind of like intense energy about me, it's like, that's not attractive. And they're likely putting some kind of guard up and not showing up as their best self because of it. If I went in to it, which is, if I'm married, that'd be nice for me to be married by 30. I would love that. But if it doesn't happen, I'm trusting in the divine timing of it, and I'll put myself out there, and I'm going to focus on having fun and living my best life and surrender the rest to God, to the universe, and knowing that when I'm supposed to meet my person is when I'm supposed to meet my person, and there could be multiple people, and I'm just going to be here, open and willing for it, and not with a tightly clenched fist, because that makes me a very uptight, rigid, cunty Virgo. And I don't think that's how you're going to attract that person that you want to attract. So when I started dating from that place, I started having more fun. I wasn't like, oh, this is going to be a waste of makeup and time. I was more discerning of who I went out with. Did they sound fun versus it being some kind of an agenda? And therefore, because I was lighter and I was more fun, I saw them in a different light and they were more fun. So when you do this with money, I need this needy energy. It's like a codependent, needy energy. I need. You're saying, I need to make this kind of money. I need this business to work in order for me to be okay, in order for me to be happy, in order for me to have peace, in order for me to have clarity, in order for me to enjoy my life, in order for me to feel inspired. You're fucked. And I'm saying this to you as I remind myself of this. I love recording shows for you. I love creating content. I love writing emails for you. I love helping you, teaching you, guiding you, motivating you, empowering you. I love doing all of that. And if that was all contingent on me having a certain number of downloads or a certain amount of money that I'm making every single week or off every launch, you would be able to feel that. You really would. You wouldn't resonate with the show. I would start acting funky. I would probably not be as much myself. And you might not even necessarily pick up on it, but you wouldn't be attracted to the show. And then you certainly wouldn't share the show to other people. And therefore, I would create a self-fulfilling prophecy of not having the level of success of the show that I want. Instead, I show up every time knowing the exact people who are meant to hear these episodes, who are meant to find my show in whatever path, whether it's TikTok, Instagram, Pinterest, Google, through a friend, that they are being called to learn from me and be in my audience and be in my community for a higher level reason. And that rest of it's none of my business. My job is to show up and do what I do best in my best capacity at any given day and let go of the rest. So I want you to hold on. I'm not saying not to hold on to your dreams and not to hold on and have the desire and be clear about what you want, but not with a tight fist. I want you to hold it loosely. What would happen if you were doing like a long beach walk with someone and you were holding hands and you were gripping almighty on for it? They would be like, ow, at a certain point, or their circulation in their hand would hurt. Your hand would hurt. But how about when you are holding someone's hand and you're holding it kind of loosely and casually and light. You could hold that person's hand for hours and it's going to still feel comfortable. Do you want to wear a leg prison's pantsuit all day and wear Spanx underneath that pantsuit? Or do you want to wear a flowy, beautiful dress that feels comfy and you feel free in? That's how I want you to look at attachment. Am I gripping really hard? Am I wearing the leg prison pantsuit? Or am I holding on to this desire loosely to allow room for the abundance and the magic and the miracles to occur, to allow the space for the universe to co-conspire and co-create with me? Or am I snuffing it all out in rigid self-control and obsession and fear and overthinking, overanalyzing, spiraling self-doubt? So take a step back and ask yourself, how can I even detach a little bit today? Because this takes some time to work on this if you've not done this work before. How can I detach a little bit, even 10%? Is it going and doing another activity you enjoy to do? Is it calling a friend and laughing? Is it you writing about it? Is it you praying? Is it you taking a bath? Is it you stepping away? Is it you leaning in to this feeling and really going, where does this come from? Why am I gripping on so tightly to this? It's like, yeah, I understand I need money and I understand I don't want to go back to work. And yes, I understand I don't want it to work, but what am I so afraid of? What am I so afraid of? And you're really asking this to your inner child. What are you so afraid of, sweetie? You have a kid who's so nervous. I've got to get an A. I've got to get an A. I've got to get an A. I would ask a kid like, well, have you been studying and doing your best to study the subject for the test? Well, yes. And is there any more you could really do? Well, probably not. Well, then that's all you can do, is do the best that you can. But if you keep studying and you stay up all night studying and you don't get rest, you can actually sabotage how you do on the test because you're so tired and you're not thinking clearly, or all you've had were Monster energy drinks and Starbucks, and now you're a disaster to take a test. That's, by the way, stuff that I did all the time in school. And it would have been a lot better if I actually studied, but I also had a nice balance of taking care of myself. What is your inner child afraid of by people not signing up? That doesn't mean that they're not signing up ever. What is she afraid of? Is she afraid this isn't going to work and that means my life is over? You need to talk her through this. You need to write it out. You need to work with a trusted friend or a coach on this if this keeps coming up, because you ending up in this self-doubt spiral and taking everything personal and that people just don't want to buy from you, people don't want to work from you, people don't want your gifts or what you have to offer, but they want other people's but not yours, that's not going to serve you in any possible way. It's actually only going to keep you stuck and beat you down and snuffing out all the abundance that I know you want. So how can you detach even a little bit more today? How can you loosen that grip on this thing? And just see what happens when you loosen that grip. Your body even changes, your inflammation changes, your sleep changes, your muscle tension changes, your tone of voice changes, your thoughts change. Just start at 10% at a time and take your inventory. Ask yourself, am I really digging in with and giving myself, shame hit after shame hit and beating myself down? And what that's always rooted in is you're scared. Your inner child is terrified that you're not going to be safe. You're not going to be okay. You're not going to flourish. You're not going to be happy without this thing. And it's the contrary action that you need to take that is going to get you closer to the thing. That doesn't mean, again, you don't have a grip at all, but your grip is done loosely so we don't snuff out all the abundance that you deserve and you desire. I want you to share this episode with someone who comes to your mind, who tends to go back to what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? It must be me. What am I missing? Help them out. Share this episode on your Instagram stories or Facebook stories and tag me at Project Me with Tiffany, and go leave a dang review for the show. If all you have time to do is tap the 5 stars on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, I'll take it. But even better, if you can leave a written review, put your name or Instagram handle in the review, take a screenshot of it, and DM me at Project Me with Tiffany, and I will gladly treat you to a luxuriating beverage of your choice as a way of saying thank you for being such a generous and caring and appreciative listener. So go do that. And again, look out for the Abundance League Mastermind. It's 4 months with me and my Project Me Dream Team. And this is where we do both the mindset work and the proven strategy, because you can't have one without the other and end up bringing the cash into your life in a way that feels fun and enjoyable and easy and exciting. Stop trying to do all this on your own. Stop playing cheap with your business and actually get the support that you need and the guidance that you need from someone that you feel safe with to get you there, so that 2023 can be the year you did the damn thing. Not thought about it, not tried the thing, not exhausted yourself doing all the things. No, that 2023 is the year you did the thing, and it was a breakout success. Wishing you great health, wealth, and worth as always. Love you. If you enjoyed this podcast, please write a 5-star review on iTunes. Not only will this make me super happy, but it will allow more listeners to find our special show. Simply help me help others.